What's going on, everyone? So I got this beautiful turboed RSX up on the dyno today. This was actually here, I want to say, a couple of years ago. Had to figure out what year it was, 2023. It is, I believe he was here around 2021. It was on the dyno, and his idle air control valve just happened to fall off. So he said he was ready for the tune. He's got everything taken care of. In case you couldn't tell, it is strapped up on the dyno, ready to go. So, come along with me on this magical journey we call dyno tuning or whatever. So, I'm gonna hop into this. I'm gonna get this thing going. Gonna dial it in. Got the tune already built for it because, well, it was here originally and it was tuned here. So I'm gonna hop in, see if anything wants to go. I'm gonna start slowly, partial throttle, see if we want to do any changes and whatnot, and go from there. So I will be back. I will get you some footage, and I will, if I have anything to inform or educate you guys, I will do so, guys and girls. I'm not gonna seclude anybody if we got some females watching. And yeah, that's about it. So we'll see what this one's got. Got some other stuff we'll cover too in this video, and we'll go from there. So I can definitely feel the jerkiness he's talking about, but it's not in the tune. I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. Let me flip the camera around. We actually have two things that are going on. We have a TPS issue, which I'm going to show you. What's happening is I can step on the throttle probably about at least a quarter of the way down. So a quarter of the way the throttle's opening, and the TPS is not responding. So when I show you that video next, what I want you guys to look into is watch how the RPMs are climbing. That's me hitting the throttle, but watch the TPS has no response. The other thing I noticed, and he did mention something about, he said that it feels weak on cold starts. The idle air control valve, from what I can tell, isn't leaking, but it's not working either. You're gonna see that when I make the adjustments in K-Pro down below in front of me. That's what I'm trying to point at. You'll see that I make the adjustments, and as I make the adjustments, the idle should go up or down. Now K-Pro is finicky to a point where sometimes you have to hit the upload button. I've done that, I've tried it, it doesn't really, there's no change. So either the idle air control valve is bad, or a wiring issue, or we have seen in the past too where guys will install the incorrect throttle body gasket, so the idle air control valve is actually blocked off from where it needs to get its air from, and all that fun stuff. So watch the video. I'll show it to you guys right now. So what you just saw during that pull was boost cut. Right now we are at 80% duty on the electronic boost controller. That's right where I kind of want to stop. I have a set range in my head where the electronic boost controller is going to work the best, and I personally feel once you go above that point, it doesn't want to work. And as I said, consistency is what we're looking for. And that's the other thing too. A lot of guys, you know, will put the duty cycle at let's say 15, so a low duty cycle for the boost controller, and they will have nothing happen. That's because it's not doing anything at that duty cycle. So you bump it up just a little bit more. There is a range where electronic boost controllers will want to work better or not even work at all. So what you saw was boost cut. I don't know why other tuners don't, but I can't speak for them or on their behalf, but some tuners don't put boost cut. It just kind of mind boggles me. So it's a safety thing. We can raise it up if, you know, we want to be at that boost level where we're at. I'm going to look at the data logs. As far as power goes right now too, though, we're right where he wants to be power-wise with his goal of 400 horsepower. The only thing too is you have to take in consideration right now it is hot and humid out. The dyno is reading close to about 100 degrees right now. So of course on a colder day this thing would make more power. I'm not going to go into the whole, you know, why you make more power on colder days or less humid days. You can go Google that because we could talk about that forever. But that's where we're at right now. So I'm going to dial this thing in, finish it up, hop off and see what else we have going on that I can cover. Hopefully some of this stuff was a little bit informative if you're trying to do your own you know, electronic boost controller in any program too. I will say you know, what I discussed here, that goes for any program where electronic boost solenoids want to work the best. You know, besides that, I covered the jerky motion that he was, and in his notes it says, you know, 5 to 10 miles per hour vehicle jerks at low speed. That's the throttle position sensor. We can address and fix it after the dyno if he wants us to do so. If he wants to do it himself and the car needs a little bit of tweaking afterwards, that's something that we can do on the street because it's down low. It's not a safety concern. We're not redlining the vehicle on the street or anything like that. And normally too, in that case, there's no charge. It's going to take me about 5 to 10 minutes. I don't charge on that. I don't penny pinch. That's not what it's about. You know, that's not why I started this business. With that being said, I'm looking at the other notes here. I mentioned the cold start being weak, so I wanted to cover all that stuff too. If the idle air control valve was working, the idle would be a lot higher during a cold start, and then it would go back down to where it should be. But like I said, right now it's just like there's no idle air control valve even on the car. So and the only other thing I'll inform him too on is he says that he has a manual boost controller. I will let him know that he does have an electronic. He might not even know. So yeah, gonna wrap this one up, finish it. Let's see what else we got going on. I want to show you guys one more thing, and sorry that I said that I was gonna wrap this up, but I do feel like this is informative where I can show you guys what's happening. So as I mentioned about the duty cycle and the boost by gear and all that stuff and the wastegate spring, you can see what's happening right now. So you watch the boost in purple, 14.6, 14.6, 14.9, 15.2, 16.3. So it's climbing like it should, but watch what's happening. So we got to 18. We got to 18 and we go down to 16.8. That is the wastegate trying to do its job, opening and closing. We got 15.8. It's bleeding off boost. Now we got 16.3. So when I say I want consistency, this is what I'm talking about. I don't want to see that up and down. You can see that, you know, we got to a point where the wastegate was like, okay, we're going to do its job. Okay, now we can't keep up. You know, so you see it's trying to do its job. And it's just that if we went with a stiffer wastegate spring, we would not see that up top. And that's why it's very important to make sure the wastegate spring is set up for your setup and it doesn't, you know, every car is not going to be the same unless you're running the same turbo and the same exact setup. But a lot of variations come into play here. So hopefully that kind of was, hopefully that educated some people of what I was trying to say. And here's a perfect example too of what a dyno is. A dyno's a tool. It's a useful tool in a safe environment. You can literally see the power. Now keep in mind the data log I just sent you. As boost is climbing, and then it goes down a little bit, but then it climbs back up. We don't want that. We want consistency. So we have this vehicle that was towed in, I'm assuming. It was dropped off after hours. On our work order, it states that the customer installed a wideband gauge and it won't restart afterwards. Just doing a once over on the car. Clearly it's turboed, but you can also see that the couplers are not on fully. There's one down here. The other thing too is I'm noting you have all the, they cut the exhaust, the hood for the exhaust, and they didn't clean anything after they were done cutting, I guess. I mean, that's pieces of the hood. And then I'm going over here to look. I'm trying just to assess everything I got going on in front of me. Little stuff I'm checking. Map sensor, seeing if that looks like it's been replaced and stuff. And then I hop in the car. Because we're under the impression it once ran when it was turboed. I mean, this is what we're dealing with. I don't know how we're supposed to get our feet in there and hit the clutch and the gas and all that stuff. There's just wires everywhere. Same goes for over here. There's a jumper on the seat. So, you know, I'm gonna see if I can diagnose why this thing's not starting. Because either way, if it never ran before, or if it just ran after the gauge, it's the same situation. It's a no start. But we do see from time and time again where guys will do like a full swap or put a turbo kit on, and it will never actually run afterwards. And now it's here for us to diagnose. Why, you know, why people sometimes ain't truthful, I have no clue. I've done other videos on this. I don't know if it's an ego thing or people, well, it'd be the same thing where people will feel bad that, you know, hey, I don't want them to judge me. I did this and I couldn't get it running. Nonetheless, this is more work than we're gonna have to. I mean, it's more work than just a no start. You know, we have to make sure we move these wires out of the way gently, and you know, there's just wires that are it looks like they've been crimped and soldered at one point. Now they're just separated, so we're gonna tape those up to make sure they don't touch, cause any more issues than we're having. But it's more than a no start at this point. The other thing I forgot to mention, the keys don't work for the door. Doesn't have a trunk slot because it's carbon fiber, and the battery was dead. So the only way you can open it is with a key fob. So we had to disconnect the hood latch for us to pop the hood. And I'm seeing someone left their brake cleaner cap in the hood, so I'll dispose of that for them. But yeah, just, you know, more time than for us just to hop in and diagnose it. We have to clean up a little bit of the wiring now. We had to spend some time getting in the car, so stuff you normally wouldn't see here. Behind the scenes footage. So I'm taking out the spark plugs to check them, and we are going to note, you can see that the valve cover seals are installed, looks like incorrectly. Probably switched around upside down. So, and then the plugs, you can see the plugs are really black, so we're gonna swap them out and start with some clean plugs so we're not fighting two separate issues. And you can see somebody actually like deformed the metal in there, so our socket doesn't want to go in there easily. I have to kind of just push it in and hope that it rounds that piece more so. It's not that hard to get in, but it's not normal either. And the one thing I'll mention about the whole tune, you know, when a car doesn't start, a lot of guys will go into the actual program and not know what things do, and then they switch things on and off, or they change settings to what they shouldn't be. So it's just easier and quicker for me to diagnose and roll out his tune. And when I say quicker, well, that means less labor charge for him, and hopefully it's something stupid that they enabled something or disabled something in the tune to cause it not to start. We're gonna see. So it started right up with my tune and the clean spark plugs. So it's probably a combination of his tune and the spark plugs. The car was dropped off after hours, and we did get some rain. So you can see all this soot is coming out the downpipe. We didn't see any water in the downpipe before we started it, so there was no need for us to take the downpipe off. It started right up. We killed it instantly. I'm gonna wipe down his fender. Got a little on the door. You can see it actually came on the ground too. And I'm gonna see where he wants us to go from there. I mean, we got it started. That was the task at hand. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be fixed. We did also note that the bumper support is not really being held on at all. It's being held on by one bolt on both sides. So we're gonna make notes of all this. Ultimately, you know, I don't know if he's trying to drive it home. If he's trying to drive it home, well, we can't actually test drive it in this condition. It's a safety issue. A lot of the stuff, you know, going on, and we don't know the condition too of, you know, the suspension and all that stuff. So we'll see what he wants to do. And just something for us to know too, you can see the fuse box cover has no lid. I don't know if you can tell. I can't even see what I'm taping because of how sunny it is, but there's definitely moisture getting in there. You can see the rust is actually, it's rust and like little rocks and whatnot, so that's never good. So we're gonna note everything that we see. Battery stuff too. You know, of course, clearly too, the couplers aren't on. This one actually looks like it was covering a weld, so it probably doesn't vibrate. So yeah, I think it's welded. I think the coupler's there so it doesn't hit the chassis that has been cut out. So yeah. And one more thing I noted too was the fuel pressure was very low. He's got an adjustable regulator, but you know, since it starts and I'm not tuning it, I'm gonna leave that up to whoever is gonna tune it. If he does bring it back here, or he has us fix, and there's a lot of stuff we would have to fix to get this thing on our dyno where it's acceptable. So we'll see what he wants to do. And this project, this was all filmed previously. We actually have the car inside right now. The customer gave us the go-ahead to do all the work that we made notes on that had to be addressed before the actual dyno tune itself. I don't know if we'll have, well actually we won't have any of the finished work in this video. So this originally, I believe I said it early on in the video too, this was originally brought in as a no start type condition. So enjoy.